So I just checked my LinkedIn and I've got 3 interview calls lined up for me. And these are not from applying. I haven't even applied to a single position at least 6 months now. All of these interview calls came out from people reaching out to me. And wait, before you think I'm some kind of an LinkedIn influencer with, 50,000 followers or something, I'm not. I'm just a regular guy who's figured out this LinkedIn game and how a lot of people play it the wrong way. And so, what if I told you that every single day, thousands of brilliant applicants are getting rejected on LinkedIn when they apply for jobs because they are using the tool the wrong way? It is as if the brilliant people are not getting selected for jobs and the mediocre ones are somehow managing to make it. The only difference? The mediocre ones understand the one little secret about LinkedIn that the rest of the world do not. Hey guys, I'm Anudeep and I work as a software engineer. I'm a self-taught developer. I had a background in mechanical engineering and now I'm in tech. And I actually managed to get a couple of job offers in this absolutely cracked job market. So today I'm going to show you the exact LinkedIn strategy that completely changed my job search game. And stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to share the actual messaging templates that have gotten me responses from recruiters at these companies. Let's get started. So look, people look at LinkedIn as this job search portal, right? Like it is some sort of a fancy version of Monster or Indeed where you put your professional photo and you write your credentials and stuff and you apply for jobs. That's what I used to think too. But here's the thing. While you are treating it as a job search portal, you are missing the real game. You are literally sitting on a gold mine and using it like a benchmark. Like yeah, there's a whole job search section in LinkedIn where you can upload your resume and apply for jobs and stuff. But that's not even the main thing. LinkedIn is your networking site. Period. It's your 24/7 robot that drives traffic to you. Like in real life, right? We have products, we have a water bottle and the bottle company will, have a website where, people can go and buy the bottle. Similarly, on LinkedIn, you are the product and these companies, recruiters, hiring managers are all buying your skills, experiences and your personality to fulfill the job that they want at the company. So the entire game is connecting with these people. That's it. That is the secret sauce everybody is missing. If there is nothing but just one thing that you take away from this video, it has to be this. LinkedIn is a networking site that happens to have some job search abilities, not the other way around. Approaching job search on LinkedIn this way can absolutely change your job search game. Okay, so let me paint a picture. You have crafted the perfect resume, right? You have all the buzzwords, the keywords, you have, made your bullet points according to your action words and stuff. And you have customized each resume to the role that you're applying. And you're clicking the apply button on each job application like your life depends on it. And in most cases, it virtually does because getting a job is really, really important for some people. At least it was for me. But then what happens when you submit your application? Let me tell you exactly what happens to your resume. First, it has to pass through the ATS system. And we have talked about this monster before in our previous video. And this ATS system is scanning for keywords. And if you happen to miss some of the keywords, boom, rejected. And if it passes the ATS system, and that's a big if by the way, some recruiter has to like it. It has to like the representation, it has to like the skills that you have mentioned, and most of the times, the recruiter that is reviewing your resume isn't even a technical person. So it's a matter of chance if he likes it or not. And in most cases, a recruiter is looking at hundreds of resumes which are mostly similar. And if the recruiter approves of it, it goes to the hiring manager. Even more filtering. And then maybe, just maybe, somebody will actually look at your resume and the work that you have done. It's like imagine your resume is going through an airport security check, just that there's not just one gate but 5 to 10 different types of gates which you have to pass through to be able to board your plane. At each checkpoint, they can just throw your resume into trash. But here is exactly where it gets interesting. When you reach out directly, boom, you skip all of that. And I'm not even kidding, there are literally posts on LinkedIn by the people in the team in which the hiring process is happening who are posting about the openings. They're like, hey, we have a React developer opening, here's the job link. And the best thing that you can do is comment on the post, like the post, apply on the job, and also reach out to the person who put up that post. Start chatting about the role, start chatting about the company, the culture, whatever you want. No ATS, no hiring manager filter, no nothing fluff. Just you and the person who actually needs to complete the vacancy. This is how you get your job search process going. Not through applications, but through conversations. Alright, so the next part might hurt, especially for the audience on this channel which is not based in the US, but we need to talk about it. So for example, in India and also in other parts of the world which has a similar saying, we say what's visible is what sells. Our ancestors knew about it, our parents know about it when they're running their own businesses, but somehow when it comes to our careers, we have picked up this belief that our work should be good enough, and our work should speak for itself, and like our work should be good enough for the other people, for the recruiter or the hiring manager, and for the entire world to reach out to us for our jobs. We shouldn't have to sell ourselves. And I'm like, where the hell did we pick up this mindset? Because that's not how the world works. That is definitely not how the world works. We sit here thinking, if my resume is good enough, I'm gonna get a whole shit of calls, I'm gonna have a lot of resumes, and I'm gonna interview, and then I'm gonna land a job. What sort of a dream world are we guys living in? Meanwhile, Americans, and I've learned this after coming here, they're like these amazing marketers. They get it. They're out selling themselves, networking, talking to people, building their connections, promoting their work. And we are here being shy about it, thinking that these Americans are showing off and I don't need to show off because my work will talk for itself. That doesn't happen, sadly. Look, I'm gonna be real with you. You have to speak for your word. Your work will not speak for itself. And I know it's uncomfortable. I've been there. I know in many parts of the world, including India where I come from, it's frowned upon to promote yourself and market yourself and sell yourself. But that is literally how you put your foot into the door. Yes, obviously, you do your work first. That is absolutely necessary. But then you have to tell people about it. The telling part, that is exactly where most of the people skip over. They don't realize that it is not showing off. It is exactly how the world works. If you do not put yourself out there, if you do not build your own personal brand, if you do not build your professional network, you are basically invisible. And invisible people don't get hired. Alright, so now that we are in the right mindset, let's build our LinkedIn profile into an absolute war machine. Because before you reach out to people, you need to do your homework. When you send invites to people, they will check your LinkedIn profile. They will judge you based on your first impression. And first impressions do last long, really long. So the first thing that we need to nail down is the summary section, the one that we skipped in our CV because we are being smart about our space and we want to fill that space with our skills and experiences. Yeah, that summary section. Don't skip it. This is where you give your whole personality to your LinkedIn profile. This is the absolute good stuff. Moving ahead, the featured section. And oh man, for the longest of times, I thought that, somebody else will feature me and then that post will come in my featured section and stuff. And I was so wrong. Like I was actually waiting for somebody to feature me. But no, yes, you can feature yourself on LinkedIn. So here is what I did. Number one, I featured my GitHub profile because that is the actual proof of my work, right? All those green dots, those commits, all of that is actually me writing my own code, not just, flaunting about it in my CV. Secondly, my portfolio website, because even though LinkedIn provides a lot more customization than a standard resume, it is still limited. On my website, I can show graphs, pictures, images, and detailed explanations of all the projects and all the internship experiences that I've had. So yeah, it's like LinkedIn on steroids, and I do not want to miss it from my featured section on LinkedIn. And third, and this is an absolute banger, I featured my patent. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, well, I didn't invent something new, I don't have a patent and stuff, but that's not even the point. The point is, what is one thing that separates you from the rest? See, my patent is from when I was doing my undergrad in mechanical engineering and we invented a new technology in 3D printing and stuff. Now I have switched to tech. So the patent itself isn't even relevant to my current job. But do you know what it shows? Problem solving, curiosity, going the extra mile, the ability to invent something new, the ability to invent nothing out of thin air, the persistence to go the extra mile. So you see, nobody can take all of those things from me. Even if I have changed my fields and industry, those skills, the hard work, the research mindset, and the ability to see something from start to finish, all these skills are transferred to my new tech career. So go find your thing. Maybe it is a hackathon win. Maybe it's an open source contribution. Or maybe a blog post that went viral. Anything, whatever separates you from the rest, feature it. And oh, one more thing. If the GitHub repositories that you're showing aren't even public, what are you even doing? I'm kidding. Or am I? That's exactly how people see that you're not bluffing in your CV and you have actually written the hard lines of code and you've actually built the software that you're talking about, or any other thing that you say you have done on your CV. And please link your skills to your projects. LinkedIn now has this feature where you can link the skills that you used in a project to that particular project on LinkedIn, because recruiters have a different LinkedIn portal and they usually search via skills. If you have used React in 3 different projects and you have mentioned those skills in that project on LinkedIn, and if a recruiter is searching React, your profile will pop up, but if you fail to do so, it won't pop up if it already didn't occur to you. It's that simple. So now that your profile doesn't look like a ghost town, it is time to reach out to people. But you can't just randomly message people and expect some fruitful responses. And before even writing the correct message, we should identify the correct people we should reach out to. So, in my opinion, you should reach out to 3 types of people. Number 1, people from your own country. I know it sounds weird, but there's an instant connection. When I see somebody from India working in my dream company, I directly reach out. And 9 out of 10 times, they accept my connection request. We've got shared backgrounds, shared struggles, etc. They know what it's like to be where you are right now. Number 2, your alumni network. These are again the people who have been through the same stuff as you, maybe same professor, same campus, or maybe same hostel or dorm room. But here is the third and the golden category. And this is where most people get it wrong. There's a concept of a guru versus a guide. So a guru is somebody who's already a master, like a VP or a senior director at a company, for example Google or something. They have walked the exact path that you are walking, but maybe 20 or 25 years ago, and they really can't relate to your current struggles. You message them, they ignore you because they have got some other stuff in their life to do, and you feel bad. But a guide, that is somebody that's just slightly ahead of you. They just went through what you are facing right now. So in my opinion, if you are a fresh grad looking for jobs, do not message the engineering director. Instead, message the junior developer. They just now went through the hiring process. They remember every painful step. Yes, surely, they will not be the one interviewing, but they know exactly how the interview is, what the team wants, or what their day-to-day looks like. They're not too far ahead so that they have forgotten the struggles, but they are far enough to actually help you. That is the sweet spot. Alright, so this is actually where the magic happens, the actual step of reaching out to people. There's definitely a bad way and good way to do it, and some of the bad examples are, just asking for a referral when you're reaching out. For example, hey, I saw you work at Google. Can you refer me to this role or something? Or can I pick your brain for 30 minutes or so? These are so cliche stuff, and a lot of people reach out to me using these templates, and I instantly, feel them, but I do not also, feel like connecting to them because I know they do have a lot more to offer than this. So no, just no. You are asking for a favor without even giving anything back. And that is not how human beings work. And you might ask, hey, I don't have anything to offer. In fact, I want help from them. But it is not as straightforward as it sounds. Just stick with me and have a look at my 3-step formula and feel free to copy it and you'll see what I'm trying to say. First, you connect without mentioning the job. Find something to relate with them about. Let's say I'm interested in a software engineer role at Google. I find a recruiter, let's call her Annie. My first message would be, hi Annie, I see we're both working in Silicon Valley tech companies. I also noticed you pursued your bachelor's at Purdue. I recently contributed to an open source project that was featured at their annual hackathon. Would love to connect. See? No mention of a job, just human to human connection. Once they accept, and they usually do if your first message was good enough, then you make your move. But you're still not asking for a referral, you're just asking for information. You can say something like, hi Annie, thanks for accepting. I saw the software engineer position from 2 weeks ago and I'm doing research on the role to see if I'd be a good fit. Would you happen to know anyone in the team that I could chat with? I'm particularly interested in learning more about the backend systems and tech stack being used. Want to make sure I understand the role properly before applying. This is genius because it is showing A, you are doing your homework, B, you're not just wasting their time, and C, you're being thoughtful about all of it. Then in most cases, they can give you some contact information and you can talk to the team member. And after you're done talking to the team member, you can follow them up with something like, Hi Annie, I just wanted to close the loop. My conversation with Jane went really well. Learned so much about the distributed systems architecture they're working with and the scalability challenges the team is tackling. This has only solidified my interest in the role. I'd love to share my resume for your review. I believe my experience building microservices at Meta would transfer well here. Now, you are not just another applicant. You are the person who talked to Jane, understands the team's challenges, and has done their homework. This actually goes a long way. Your resume gets forwarded with context this time around. Now look, not every recruiter will connect you with the team members. Some will, straight up say no. And this is where most people give in. They get one rejection and they think, see, this reaching out to people doesn't work. I should have stuck to applications and stuff. And one of the things that I've learned is that even a no is a yes in some senses. Because even if they say no, they give you some other alternatives. They might say, I can't connect you to somebody with the team, but you can talk to me for any questions you have about the role. That's brilliant. You just got 30 to 40 minutes talking about the role with the recruiter who's hiring. Or they might just say, well, send me your resume over, I'll send it over to the hiring manager, and boom, you've just skipped all the filters. Your resume is going straight to the decision maker. So I believe that even a no in this context is better than a blank hole of applications. At least you have some momentum. At least you are moving forward. You're not just resume number 847 in the ATS system. That is a lot of information packed in, so let's bring it home. I think all of you might remember Professor Dumbledore's quote in Harry Potter when he first visits Hogwarts. He says something along the lines of, help will always be given at Hogwarts. And then he pauses, that long pause, to those who ask for it. And this line stuck with me because this is exactly how the LinkedIn game works. It is exactly how the professional world works. But we are all here sitting and waiting for opportunities to hit us rather than us hitting out at opportunities. We are hoping that our good work will magically attract recruiters and they'll reach out to us. We are treating LinkedIn like a display window rather than a conversation starter. So, you have to be the person who goes first. I know it's uncomfortable, it goes against what we have been taught throughout these years, but just mark my words, everything you want, your job referral, advice, mentorship, anything. You can get anything, but you have to ask for it. Because look, in a market where everybody needs a job, you need to be somebody who goes the extra mile. And it's really just sending some thoughtful messages. That's the whole game. Now go play it. If you found this video helpful, do hit the like button. As always, it helps the channel out. And let me know down in the comments below if you need more content like this. And actually, I've created a free Notion template for all of you with all these messages and templates, a tracking system for your outreach, and a checklist for optimizing your profile. It is completely free, linked in the description below. Do check it out if you want to. Along with this, if you're interested, grab another free Notion template from my last video to correct the resume mistakes that you might be making and actual practical suggestions on how to correct them. Again, feel free to drop a comment down below about what your biggest challenge is on LinkedIn. I read every single comment and I'd love to know your story. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. Bye.